Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call. If you just get your thoughts on the state of the Bulls heading into the conference tournament, and specifically your thoughts on the Warren I-4 matchup that's prepared in the first round against UCF, please.
Sure. Feel good heading into the tournament. I think probably over the last 4 weeks, maybe even longer, we played our best basketball of the season. Have won some really impressive games, and have had some tough losses, but very competitive in all those losses. I think every game that we've played in our last 9 or 10 games have gone to the last 8 minutes where the game was still in the balance, 1 or 2 possession game going either way. It's our guys are figuring out some things, and I think defensively and rebounding wise, we've been pretty steady. And when our offense clicks, we're just a much different team. And by clicking, I mean not only making shots, but also our primary thing is taking care of the basketball and getting shots up on the rim. But it's been led by a greater consistency by LaQuincy and David Collins, and 2 guys that have really stepped up their play for us, in Mike Durer and Justin Brown have both had tremendous second halves of the season. So feel good about how our guys have responded to some of the adversity and challenges that you face during a long year. Probably playing our best basketball this season right now. I was great respect for Coach Dawkins and their program, and it's a great opportunity for us to start off the entire league tournament with a rivalry game in the so we split during the year. I think both teams had stretches in both games that they played extremely well and exactly the way the coaches wanted them to do, and it's going to be another game that you're going to have to play well for 40 minutes in order to be successful in.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open up to questions now for Coach Brian Gregory. Star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you. And we can go ahead with the first question, please.
Thank you. Our first question will come from Brian Murphy with Orlando Sentinel.
Hi, Coach. Everyone is hyped up for tournament basketball, obviously, but because this is a rivalry game that you guys open up with, do you feel like that will bring even more edge, more motivation heading into your first game of the tournament?
Well, I think both sets of players and coaches have a lot of respect for each other. So it's a great rivalry, and I think it's getting better and better. But at the same time, I think it's one that has a foundation of respect and. Both teams play extremely hard. Both teams have had, ups and downs during the year. And I think both teams will head into it knowing that there's always a little added edge when it's your, cross-state rival. But I think both teams are heading into it with that as a key factor, but not nearly as big of a factor as the opportunity to advance in the tournament. And I think they're on a 2-game win streak. We've won 3 out of our last 4. Both teams are playing very well right now. They were exceptional yesterday, probably their best offensive output of the season, and we already know how good they are defensively. So I think it adds to it. There's no doubt about it. But what a great way to kind of tip off a tournament that promises to have a lot of twists and turns, because the regular season definitely had for everybody in the league. What a great way to tip it off with not only the first game, but a rivalry game as well.
Yeah. And like you said, you guys have been playing your best basketball of late. From your experience, what is the value of those late season wins and any momentum that comes from them when you head into a single elimination tournament?
Well, I think it's big, because mindset and how you're feeling, that the season is long. It is a grind. You play 18 games, from the first of the year on. And as Coach Hardaway just said, I think maybe in the past teams have been able to, look at 4, 5, 6 games in the league and say, okay, those are wins. I don't think anybody looks at it like that anymore. So it's become, just night in and night out. If you don't play well, you can't win. It doesn't, and that's a big change in this league. If you do not play well, you're going to have a hard time winning the game. And because of that, if you're playing well at the end of the year, man, you feel good heading into the tournament. You feel good heading into the tournament. Central Florida's at the 8th seed. We tied in league standings. They get the 8th seed. Why? Because they beat the number 1 seed on the road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I they're like us, and they're like probably a lot of teams that feel okay. Play the top teams. You either beat them or the game went down to the wire. Now you're on a neutral court. You got a couple wins underneath your belt. Who can't you beat? And I think there's a lot of teams feeling like that right now.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you.
You got it, buddy.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Joey Knight with the Tampa Bay Times.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Joey.
I wanted to ask you about college basketball in the state of Florida in general. It has had its success for sure, but in spurts. But with what you got going now here and with what Johnny's got going in Orlando and Leonard up in Tallahassee, do you think we're about to really embark on a really prosperous era of college basketball in this state?
I think you brought up a great subject that maybe hasn't been talked about. Obviously Mike's doing a great job at Florida NCAA tournament team. I've been able to, just over the last couple of weeks, see them play a couple games, and a big win last week. I watched them against Georgia, and obviously an unbelievable amount of respect for Leonard during my time in that league, and obviously we played him this year. And we talked about, what Central Florida has done, what we're embarking on as well. And obviously, those are but you take a look around as well. You got an unbelievable coach at North Florida. They had a great year. 2 young guys at FIU and Florida Atlantic that have dramatically improved that league as well. You got a guy who's taken teams to Final Fours and Elite Eights in Jim Larinaga at Miami. This state is, got a lot of teams that are ready to make another jump and a lot of teams that are already in the upper echelon. So college basketball is as you said, ready to really take it to another level in this state, and that's I think it's good for us. It's good for everybody, and I'm excited about our future. But if you take a look around, I think there's a lot of people thinking the same stuff.
Appreciate it, Coach.
You got it.
Coach, thanks so much for the time this morning. We look safe travel to Fort Worth. Look forward to seeing you there Thursday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.